Hello, thank you for joining us. We are joining you from Arch Disability Law Center's office in Toronto, Canada, and we acknowledge that we are located on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and that this land is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. My name is Gabriel Resnick, and I am a staff lawyer at Arch Disability Law Center, and I am joined by Rosie Giannoni, a law student completing a placement at Arch. Arch is a specialty legal clinic that practices exclusively in disability rights law. Arch is dedicated to defending and advancing the equality rights, fundamental freedoms, and inclusion of persons with disabilities in Ontario. Arch is primarily funded by Legal Aid Ontario. This video is the third in a series of 4 videos about reassessments for eligibility for Wheel-Trans services. In this video, we will explain how to apply or re-register for Wheel-Trans services. As outlined in our first video in this series, all persons who are eligible for Wheel-Trans prior to 2017 have to reapply for Wheel-Trans. The TTC has created a new application process to determine whether someone is eligible for Wheel-Trans services and what eligibility category they are eligible for. The 3 eligibility categories are outlined in the AODA transportation regulations, and they are unconditional, temporary, and conditional. You can learn more about these categories in our first video of this series titled Introduction and Eligibility Categories. This video will explain this new process and provide useful tips in applying for Wheel-Trans. The first step of the Wheel-Trans registration process is to get the application form from the TTC. You can email the TTC at wteligibility@ttc.ca or call them at 416-393-4111 to request the form. The application includes questions about what type of transportation you are currently using, if you require a mobility device, whether you travel a city block, if you are able to recognize bus routes, and whether you can transfer between different modes of transportation. The application also asks you to list your disabilities that affect your ability to ride conventional transportation. Your healthcare provider will also have to fill out part of the application form. In filling out your application form, it is important that you do not underplay your disability. In addition, it is important to list all disabilities that you have that may impact your ability to travel on subways, buses, and streetcars. For example, if you have a mental health disability, which may be triggered by delays on the subway causing you to miss transfers. When submitting the application, it is often helpful to have your doctor write an additional letter which further outlines how your disability affects your ability to ride conventional transportation. After you've filled out your application, you must submit it to the TTC by email at wteligibility@ttc.ca or by fax to 416-338-0126 or by mail.
After you submit your application, you may be asked to attend an in-person interview called a functional assessment test. This interview is not a mandatory part of the process and often does not occur. During this test, an occupational therapist will ask you questions about your disability and how it impacts your ability to ride conventional transportation. You also may be asked to do physical tests, for example, walking across a room to assess if you can use conventional transit. You can bring a support person to your functional assessment test. The TTC will send you a decision letter by mail, which will include their decision as to whether you are eligible for services. If you are eligible for specialized services, this decision will outline what your eligibility category is and what it means. If you are found to be eligible for conditional services, the letter will also state what conditions you have. The letter will outline that when those conditions are present, you will receive door-to-door services. To learn more about the different eligibility categories, you can watch part 1 of this series, entitled Introduction and Eligibility Categories. If you are unsatisfied with the eligibility decision, you have 90 days to appeal it. The 4th video in this series, entitled How to Appeal Your Eligibility Decision, will provide further details about the appeal process and useful tips. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, please contact our office at 416-482-8255 or by email to general@arch.clcj.ca or by visiting our website at archdisabilitylaw.ca.